of our community. We just like, oh, it's us, we can't afford it, whatever, let's move. So when I came to the topic of gentrification, it made me realize that this is a real problem, and not very many people are aware of what to call it. So, gentrification.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm an incoming sophomore at Soulforce High School. I'm 15 years old, and the reason that I decided to work on gentrification was because about a year ago, I started to see a lot of newspaper articles and about how people were living in like really crowded homes and apartments because they just couldn't afford to live here, and I became worried about it. Even especially more afterwards because my family members were starting to become affected by it. I even had some of my families move to another state just because it was so expensive and they couldn't find anywhere to live.
So kind of our mission statement, I'm not going to read it exactly, but what we stand for is to become a bridge between community members and people who can actually affect change, and make it, our base is kind of communication. So make a road between these groups and allow them to communicate and be able to share an open dialogue and know that this is the problem in our community and what to do. And so that's why we chose GAP, because we're bridging the gap. So yeah, that's our mission statement.
Yes, and we also hope to increase a sense of community, especially under the pressure of gentrification when there's a lot of tension and even trauma.
Yes. Also, we're trying to prevent losing the diversity, balance, and innovation that we have here in Silicon Valley. And these are just some of the articles found. They're actually pretty common online just because it's such a big deal and it's affecting a lot of people.
This is a map kind of showing the areas affected by gentrification. The dark purple is where it's most severe, and we are dark purple, so that's a real shocking factor for me because I didn't know it was that bad. When you're looking at Mountain View, you don't really think it's being gentrified because it's still it's been nice. It's always been nice, so when things come in, we don't realize that it's changed. It's just, oh, we're just getting nicer, but we forget that during all of this we're losing people silently, and they're going silently, and that's the issue. We need to raise awareness to it and make sure that it's a top priority in each of our daily lives, that we don't just let it affect us and we leave. If we're gonna leave, let's say something first. Let's add to the cause.
And if you want more data or something like this, you can contact Punam, who has this particular map. And so as part of our project, we wanted to collect data from the community. We created a survey of about 11 questions. We have over 70 responses, and we also shared this via Google form on email. And so for some data we have, we interviewed a lot of people. Most of them were upper, middle class. We also had some lower class respondents. And we also asked, how has the tech boom affected you? And it's generally been positive, or leaning towards it. However, when asked about any action performed by local government or organizations to help alleviate gentrification, it has generally been no. And any action they have seen has been generally poor or average. And for more data points, we see almost equal amounts of positive and negative effects of the tech boom here in Silicon Valley. But however, we see increased tensions, as seen by the final question, with a good majority leaning towards increased changing economic situations.
So a big part of what we're striving to do is raising awareness through the empathy that you can gain from listening to stories. So one of our core values is listening deeply, which is really incorporated into listening to stories, because when you listen to people's stories that have been personally affected, you really get to understand the human side of it and not just like the economic problems with the issue. So once you really understand what people need, rather than just assuming what people need, you can really help them out. So what we wanted to do was create a video in which we interviewed 4 different people, and we asked them 10 questions about how it has affected them.
Yeah, and we were able to shorten it down from an hour, so it's not an hour. Yeah, and we'll show a few clips, so excuse us for the awkwardness, but we have a few moments that we thought were really essential to share. The first one is from a woman named Tiffany Irving. I don't think she's here today, but she played a very important role because she had a lot of insight. She's lived in districts that have been gentrified before, like the Mission District. She lived in a lot of different places, so she really knows what gentrification is about.
Several neighborhoods that have been gentrified. I've lived in the Mission District of San Francisco, that is